What you reading?
Just Add Magic.
I have a magic trick.
Okay, Dad.
Okay. Ready? I'm going to use magic. I'm writing something on this pad. Do you know what I wrote?
No.
Huh? Huh?
I have a magic trick, too.
Okay.
Have a $1 bill?
I don't think, I got 20.
Perfect.
Okay.
I can turn this into something else.
What?
That cute top I saw at TJ Maxx yesterday.
Okay, Lainey. It's not funny. Back here. Today we're going to talk about the Amazon series called Just Add Magic. All right. And as we mentioned in here a couple episodes ago, we don't want to just talk about movies that I like that I can watch with my kids or that are from my childhood. We wanted to bring in things that kids like that adults could enjoy too. And Just Add Magic falls into that category. Now, do you want to set it up a little bit and tell people what it basically is about? Who's it?
It's about 3 girls, Kelly, Hannah, and Darby, and they find a magical cookbook. And when they do that, something happened to Kelly's grandma, so they try to figure it out, but they end up using it for other stuff too.
Right. So this cookbook has recipes in it, and they bake the recipes in order to get a result. And it starts because, as Lainey said, Kelly's grandma, Kelly's the one in the middle here, her grandma is not acting right. And it turns out that she's under a magic spell. And so they're trying to find a way to cure her, and they try to use the recipes. But again, as Lainey said, they wind up using the cookbook more often than they thought they would for different things. And it doesn't sound like an incredibly intricate premise. It makes for a lot of fun shows and a lot of interesting situations that the girls find themselves in. Now we can give an example of something they would cook. Like in one episode, Kelly was babysitting a dog, or dog sitting, I guess you'd say, and the dog gets lost. So they make something called
Lost and Found Do.
Lost and Found Do. And whenever they do that, there's an upside to it, which means...
But then there's a downside.
But there's a downside as well. And in this case, it basically boils down to the fact that the magic never works as simply as the recipe would indicate. There's always a riddle at the bottom. And while you would think if they ate the Lost and Found Do, they would find the dog, that's not what happens. What happens instead?
They find everything that got lost of everyone's thing except for Cowboy, which is the dog.
The dog. And it's a little town. It takes place in a little town. And so basically they wake up the next morning and they keep finding all these things. And it turns out to be everything that anyone in the town has lost. And in order to find the dog, they have to return all these items to all the people. And that's how the magic spell works. Right. So there's always an upside and a downside. So it's never a simple solution. And they had something in one of the episodes called Bitter Truth Truffles, because one of the characters was hiding a truth.
Miss Mama P they had just figured out that it was a magic cookbook, and a few episodes later, Mama P wouldn't tell them what
it was about, how the cookbook worked. Right. So they made this to try to get her to say that. And then there was, of course, a downside to that, which was because they were truffles, other people kept eating the truffles, and then they were telling the truth, and the truth was, could be rude in some cases.
And Mama P had the cookbook once. So then,
Right. Now, Mama P she's an older generation character in the series, and she owns a restaurant. And it turns out that she once had the cookbook and was one of the cooks. And there's two other characters in there that turn out to be people who also had the cookbook, and we don't want to give that away because that would be a spoiler. But the show, when Lainey, I found the show and I said, Lainey, does this look interesting to you? And she started watching it and then wanted me to watch it with her. And at first I wasn't very excited to do so because I thought, oh, how good is this going to be? Because I thought it was going to be like Charmed or like Pretty Little Liars. And it really is nothing like that. It's far, far more interesting and better told and more appropriate, obviously, than either one of those. The magic is incidental to the stories. The magic is just a plot device by which they tell these stories, and the stories are really quite good. And the actresses, the three young actresses, Hannah, Darby, and Kelly, that play those parts, are all very, very good. And Kelly's kind of stuck being the serious one most of the time. She's the one on a mission. She's trying to help her grandma. So Hannah and Darby get some more of the fun parts, and they have great comedic timing. They both are very, very funny. As is Ms. Silvers. She's an older lady, and she's kind of what?
the freakiest woman in town.
That's what they call her, and she's scary, and she's got a mystery there, and you're wondering what it is. And the three leads have really good chemistry between them, and it works well. And as I was watching it with Lainey, it reminded me a lot, when I was a kid, there were these books. Now, there were the Hardy Boys books and the Nancy Drew books, which you might have heard of, but there was a book series that I really liked that my school librarian introduced me to when I was in elementary school, called The Three Investigators. And it was similar to the Hardy Boys, but the mysteries were much better, more intricate. It was introduced by Alfred Hitchcock. It was written by Robert Arthur, and Alfred Hitchcock was a character within it who would introduce the boys because it took place in California, and they made friends with Alfred Hitchcock, and there would always be an introduction from him. But this reminds me a lot of that. Now, the books are rare. Now they're not in print anymore, and there was really, no, I guess in Europe they made a movie of it. But I'd like to think that if they ever actually made a TV series of it, it might have been similar to this. And this is really quite good, and the characters are similar. In the Three Investigators, the head investigator was similar to Kelly. And then you had a guy that was kind of really smart and did all the records and research, and that would be like Hannah. And then there was one that was athletic and not quite as smart as the other, and that would be Darby. And so actually, after watching this with Lainey, it rekindled my interest in looking up those books again. And so I bought some of the books. You have to get them; they're rare. You have to get them on eBay. I read the book and I passed it on to you. And you've read. Did you like the Three Investigators books? Mm-hmm. So this is a great instance, and of course we open the show too with the actual book that this is based on, called, and you can show it to them if you want, Just Add Magic by Cindy Callahan. And so you just started reading that, and you wanted to read it because of the series, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So, but it's like invigorated your interest in mysteries. Mm-hmm. So you're reading the Three Investigators books, and so am I, and enjoying that. Who's your favorite character in this?
Probably Hannah.
You like Hannah? You're a lot like Hannah. Hannah and you have a lot of I think you and Hannah are very similar, so I'm not surprised that you like Hannah. I like Darby. I think she's a lot of fun. She makes me laugh. I find her fun. And there's a great side characters in it. Ms. Silvers, as we said, Mama P's a good character. Becky is Kelly's grandma. Now, for me, she's the weakest of the actors.
Yes.
But she doesn't have a lot to work with either, mm-hmm. at least initially in the first season. Jake, who's their friend, mm-hmm. He's a cook. He's their age, but he's a great chef, mm-hmm. and he makes things. And he has a food. What is it?
Food bike.
A food bike. He rides his bike and he pulls a cart and serves food off of it. And he's a great character too.
Because he doesn't have his driver's license.
Right, because he's too young to drive. And it's very charming and very quaint. And for those of you who might have watched Wishbone when you were a kid, these stories are they're obviously different because those were classic stories that they were doing in that. But the film quality, the look of it, the feel of it is very, very similar to that, and it gives you that kind of feeling. And I think it would be something that you could enjoy as an adult and share. It's a great rainy afternoon, rainy weekend day afternoon kind of thing. We've had a lot of fun. We kind of poured through them. Anything else with that you want to say about it? Is there anything that's scary in it for you?
Not really, except in the first season, they didn't know it was a magic cookbook. And the first time I watched it, I kind of didn't know, but I had a clue from the title.
Right.
So I was thinking maybe, but then it started glowing and I was like, why? And that kind of scared me, but not bad.
Right. And really, the book is sort of a character in and of itself, because the book has a history to it, and there's a lot of mystery in the book. And as things unfold, the book reveals that some of the characters that you thought were one way turn out to be a very different way than you thought, because it reveals histories about the characters. And the book will open itself to a page, like when the girls need something.
Or like, there was one episode when they forgot that it was Darby's birthday because they had found out that it was Magic Cookbook. They just got the book back. And so Jake was looking through it, and then all of a sudden he stopped, and they were explaining what it did, so basically what you said, and then it just flipped to the birthday page because they forgot, and then they noticed.
Right. So the book will tell them, and it will give them clues, and sometimes there's pages missing, and then the pages reappear. So the book is almost a character in and of itself. In sort of a little trivia note here, those of you who might be Babylon 5 fans, the actress Mira Furlan, who played Delenn in all the seasons of Babylon 5, has a recurring role in this series. She plays the Traveler, which is sort of a mysterious character that has to do with the magic and what have you. So it's a recurring role. She's in at least a couple episodes. And for me anyway, it's the first time I've seen her since Babylon 5 went off the air. I know she's done, she's an actress from another country, so she works a lot in her own country, and she's done some stage work, but I hadn't seen her in anything as far as an American television series in a while. So that's kind of cool. So that's, it's a lot of fun. I think it's a great piece. I enjoyed it. So for me, so for you, yummy or crummy?
Yummy.
Yep. And for me, yummy. And while we're on the...
Wait. I made these for you.
Oh.
They're called Chuckleless Chips.
Chuckleless chips. Good.
Now he can't tell a joke.
That's not funny.
Exactly.